Hey guys, and welcome to what is a disgustingly close land battle. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, but today we're going to be focusing on a battle between Stormrunner and Midnight Sun, and it should be an absolute blast. For the keen eyes of you, some of you may have noticed that this is actually a highlight game from the last stream I did. If you're going to check out more battles like this, feel free to go back and check out that stream. If you enjoyed this video, by the end of it, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as we're getting dangerously close to 10,000 subscribers. Without further ado, let's get into this battle. Is Slaanesh versus Nurgle. Nurgle on the high ground, Slaanesh down here on the low, and they've got a bucket ton of Marauders for the main battle line. These are the Hell Scourgers, relatively tanky, at least as far as Slaanesh units go. On the far side, on this right-hand flank, we have a nice contingent of Cavalry, Hellstriders, Seekers of Slaanesh, and Chaos Furies, and the exact same is me mirroring them on the left-hand side of their battle line. 2 units of the Exalted Daemonettes of Slaanesh will be taken to the flanks. Massive fan of these units as a whole. They look particularly badass, and they do come in as well with a glorious charmed effect. -8 melee attack is really quite useful, particularly when you're expecting to grind up against Nurgle forces all day long. Leading the battle line is going to be Nakari himself. I don't like his model quite as much as the Exalted Demons, but he still looks freaking awesome, and he's coming out of a roar here, getting his older tongue action going. Coming in with Will and Prey, Witstealer Sword, Lash of Slaanesh, Slice and Shards, and Acquiescence. That is a decent toolkit all round. Nurgle taking the high ground. We have triple Plague Bearers, which is pretty exciting stuff. I think the middle one is actually the Exalted Plague Bearers. Don't get to see these units terribly often. I think they're not often picked in Domination because of their lack of speed. It's cool to see them here. Couple units of the small, lovable Nurglings in the sides, Forsaken in the back, as well as a unit of Spawn of Nurgle. And the real meat and grind of this build is coming in the form of double Soul Grinder in the center, already unleashing deadly salvos upon the enemy, and an Exalted Great Unclean One, which is, in my opinion, far and away the best Nurgle unit on their roster. Coming in with Stream of Corruption, Miasma of Pestilence, Blight Boil, and Fleshy Abundance. There's a bucket ton of spells there, and it looks like the battle is getting underway now. The Slaanesh forces are going to have to advance very quickly to close the gap, as they, of course, do not have the range advantage or the height advantage right now. Load of shots do go whizzing by, but beautiful dodge in there, coming in by Stormrunner, moving the Exalted Daemonettes into the forest as a little bit of protection, and they can move up and around once again once the battle has fully started. Marauders, pump those Marauder legs, lads. Let's get in on the action. And the Cavalry getting devastated on the far side. Now, this is the cheaper unit of Cav, but look at these shots rake down the line, doing devastating damage as the Mortars of Pestilence and Decay give a lovely warm embrace to the Hellstriders, whose bodies do indeed go cold, drop into the ground. Furies flying high in the skies, and they're pretty high right now, waiting to jump down upon their opponents. Marauders of Slaanesh do clatter into Exiled Plague Bearers, and boy oh boy, is this going to be a grind fight for the ages. Just neither of them's going to do that much damage to the other, and it's going to be a big old wet noodle clash, or probably 2 stale pieces of bread kind of crusting up against each other. Nakari starting to swarm in though, and then once we get those Exalted Daemonettes going up around the flanks, I think we'll certainly be having a decent day. Stream of Corruption goes down, relatively well placed there, doing some decent damage. And Kari is going to be going toe-to-toe with the Exalted Great Unclean One. It'll take a very long time, unfortunately, though, to drag down such a majestic beastie. Over on the far side, Seekers of Slaanesh again down and dirty with some Nurglings and Forsaken doing decent work. Looks like on the right-hand side as well, a similar situation with Hellstriders and Seekers easily overwhelming Nurglings and Spawn, particularly with their devastating charge there. Furies are just sacrificing their lives to tie up the Soul Grinders and allow the Exalted Daemonettes to whip up and around the flanks. I would love to see them come crashing down on this front line, which currently is very, very stalematy. So as you can see, Exalted Daemonettes will be moving up through the flanks, maybe going after the Forsaken here. That's going to be a bloody affair indeed. But in the front, whips are pulling apart rotten flesh, and the smell of decay and death is strong in the air as a big whip, whatcha, comes down there on the Plague Bearers, doing some decent damage as more Exalted Daemonettes move up round the flank. Looks like Nkari did receive a Miasma of Pestilence, so rather wisely used their fantastic speed to pull out of the engagement. As the Cavalry continues to swarm, though, Curse the Slug does go down. Cavalry is really starting to surround and mess up this back line. Exalted Daemonettes doing a fantastic job as well against the Forsaken, particularly when supported by so much Cavalry. Front line is still bumping and grinding. Nakari's actually trying to run away from the Exiled Great Unclean One, which is pretty hilarious because Nakari's like meant to be the greatest duel of all time. But yeah, the Exiled Great Unclean One, you just don't mess with them. They're so powerful. Look how much damage the Exiled Daemonettes do. Getting a rear attack onto the Plague Bearers, they just start crumbling so quickly. Elsewhere in the front line, it's going pretty good for Nurgle. Hellstrider's doing decent damage though. Forsaken being plucked apart here with deft accuracy of those spears, or should I say limbs really, because they've been gifted some limbs and lances by Slaanesh. I don't know if I would call it a gift, but hey, I'm not a crazed fanatic of Slaanesh, at least not yet. I'll give it time. Seekers are going to be moving in as well, floating around all the back, and once again doing a beautiful rear attack. Oh, this is such a nice play by the Slaanesh player. You can see the cavalry hits one unit while Daemonettes run into the other, and that's going to secure the front line relatively securely, I think, as more as the Slaanesh were really struggling. But with this support, they're having quite a good time. The Kari as well, Masma Pestilence may be going down. They can certainly do a number over on their Soul Grinder, who doesn't have Acquiescence currently popped on them. Likewise, a heal, though, is coming down for Nurgle. So the left-hand side was one. Exalted Daemonettes are pushing into the back line now. Maybe looking just to charm the spawn of Nurgle. And then Kari is moving around, choosing their engagements rather wise. He's going to be pulling back and probably beelining for the Soul Grinder, I would expect, as the Mighty Spawn do unfortunately go down there. Front line is just death and carnage for both forces. Cavalry is attempting to fall back. Now, it looked like those rear attacks were going to win the front line, but the Exalted Plague Bearers are holding firm, and with the Great and Clean One here, plus the Soul Grinder, it's become much more a pitched battle in the front, though the right-hand flank has been securely won, as was the left side there. And Kari, he's jabbing, he's poking, he's smooching, he's trying his best on this Soul Grinder, who does have Will and Prey currently rocked on them. They are retreating away. Scuttle to freedom, my friend! Freedom res north for you and me this time, but Nakari is going to be swinging around, and the Soul Grinder not having the best of days. So it looks like he was able to scuttle relatively to freedom there. Hellstriders are moving in onto the big boy. He is charmed right now, and, you know, he may be a big disgusting blob, but big disgusting blobs still have urges, and the Slashers, looking like hamburgers right now, are really kind of, you know, distracting him and his melee attack. He's up to a whopping 1,927 gold value at the moment, which is pretty impressive. He does, of course, come in with that glorious Mortis Engine effect, and a big strike on the back of the Kari's dome is going to hurt quite a bit. Exalted Daemonettes kind of have the Curse of Slug on them. It does look like the Soul Grinders are starting to go down, though. So one on the right-hand side is exhausted and unstable. The Kari once again retreats back and looks to swoop in. Bounce is very even, and though it would seem the majority of the forces left on the battlefield are Slaanesh, trust me, this Exalted Grain Clean One is a world beater. Human Corruption goes down. Exalted Daemonettes, having a whale of a time, though, are able to tank it. Soul Grinder probably going to be going down. Looks like one down, one to go. Nakari, though, constantly being hit by the Masma Pestilence, really keeping him out of the action where he wants to be. Looks like the Exalted Daemonettes are going to retreat back as well. They've had enough of being mortised down by this Exalted Great Unclean One. They're probably going to be moving in at some of the weaker units first, and then applying pressure with Nakari, I think. But the problem with this strategy is the Soul Grinder is now able to shoot in quite nicely, and is continuing to fire whilst vomit at the same time. Is there anything left on the battlefield which could come back? It looks like there's some Forsaken, 17 of them hiding in the trees right now. We do have some Marauders coming back into the action as well. Exalted Daemonettes going to be charging in. Of course, coming in with their debuffs is really going to help out quite nicely. Human Corruption is going down, though, which is quite nasty. And Kari is trying his best against this Great Unclean One, but he is so problematic here. Probably best killing that Soul Grinder first, and then going after the Exalted One at the later stages of the battle. The Exalted Plague Bearers are really getting ripped to shreds now. We've got 2 units of Exalted Daemonettes on them. They will not last long whatsoever. Even with their huge HP kind of gaps, it's just not going to work too well for them. It looks like that Soul Grinder is about to bite the bullet. A lovely chap here. Acquiescence plus Charmed. Yeah, Nakari's going to slap you and slap you real good. Does attempt to dodge, though, the Exalted Grain Clean One and go the long way around, which I don't blame them whatsoever. It takes slightly longer to kill the Soul Grinder. You're less likely to take 3 hits coming in from the Exalted Demon. Honestly, this is really fantastic play by Storm all day. Likewise, Midnight Sun has had a fantastic showing. Bounce Power is now Slaanesh favored, and in comes Nakari. Exalted Daemonettes, though, could certainly go down here. It's not over yet. The Exalted Grain Clean One still has over 9,000 HP, which is pretty scary. And in Kari, only 6,800, though. Looks like they're actually healing up there a little bit. Witchstealer's Sword going down, increasing that base weapon damage and armor piercing quite nicely, though. The Exalted Grain Clean One isn't known for his armor, but he is being charmed here by the lovely ladies, the Exalted Daemonettes of Slaanesh. Looks like the other unit is just running around up to no good, and probably going to be fighting some Forsaken relatively soon, who are starting to spring their trap. That'll be a fight for the ages. But now it's just a big old Godzilla versus King Kong style fight. And which one shall win, the bell or the sword? And plus, I mean, crab hands certainly helps out. Lore-wise, I have generally no idea who's meant to win this. I don't think anyone wins. Probably the mighty Nakari would... Actually, Nakari, yeah, being a legendary lord, would win comfortably, but an exalted kind of Slaanesh demon would probably kill a great Nurgle and then die of disease afterwards, I would assume. But that tends to be the way things go in Warhammer. It's all rather bleak and destruction. Exalted Daemonettes up to 102 kills. Very impressive so far, though they get sent flying by the Exalted Grand Clean One. 5,000 HP on our big boy. Nakari looking a bit healthier. Coming over to help just cleanse the realm of the Forsaken with a lovely spinning animation. Big fat stream of corruption goes down. It should be enough there to finish off the exalted Daemonettes. You'd assume they're crumbling pretty damn fast now. Looks like the Forsaken have given up at the same time. And in comes Nakari, the battle of our age, the ultimate duel of ultimate destiny, one-on-one, one warrior to another. We shall fight for the fate of Middle-earth. And a big fight here, or the old world, I should say, rather than Middle-earth, but same thing, right? The Exiled Grand Clean one trying his best. He does have Fascination popped on him now, so he is... That's actually a really nice play there, confusing him and making him rampage. So he can't pop any of his own buffs, abilities, or spells. He gets knocked to the ground, and it looks like Nakari was tempted for a little while, but does go back to a bit of a fight. And a lovely little headbutt comes in by the big boy. It's looking really good for Nakari right now. And unless we get a big fat hill go down the Exiled Grand Clean one, and he's used a lot of Winds of Magic, so I don't think he has one in the tank, it's probably going to be all over. Lovely slice and animations. You can see just the goos and ooze dripping from our mighty boy as he tries to hold on here. The little Nurglin. You can do this, Papa. I believe in you, Nakari. Today, you are all my sons coming in and slaughtering. You don't deal with a named character. Your plot armor is no match for mine. Great Nurgle demon. And it looks like it is going to be a lovely victory to the Subtle Torment, which is an interesting name for a sub-factioner and the forces of Slaanesh. Well played there to both players. Awesome work by Midnight Sun, who I believe is like a DBD Duckling in training right now. Need to get some games in, actually, and hopefully we can get you involved. And, yeah, the Mighty Stormrunner, who's been a DBD member for a very long time, friend of the channel as well for an insanely long time, like way before I had like 300 subs or something. I think Storm's been around, some of it in replay, so always good to see him in action. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Some pretty crazy value here on these units, as you would expect. I'll delve into that into a second, but if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment and all that juicy stuff. Feel free to let me know down below what factions you would like to see more of, what you would like to see in the future on the channel, or just leave a funny comment, leave a quack. I really do enjoy reading through them all, and yeah, it's cool to see you guys there. There's a load of links as well, Twitch, Patreon, Discord, in the little box down below. Discord is how you submit replays to get cast on the channel as well, so if you're looking to do that or get involved in live streams I do, make sure to sign up. Back to the battle. So let's start with the forces of Nurgle. 205 kills, 4.8 gold value there on the big boy. He's so good. 920 and 830 gold value on the Soul Grinders. 121 kills on the Exiled Plague Bearers. Did suffer a little bit from being shanked multiple times in the rear, which isn't good for anyone's health, really, and they did go down, unfortunately. 700 value on the Spawn, and I don't think anything else was too crazy. I like the Plague Bearer build, though. It held the line really well, but once Slaanesh got around the back, it was all over. Nakari, 3,991 gold value. Mwah. Beautiful play. Really good choice of engagements as well. That is some real top-tier stuff we saw kind of commanding the general. I really big fan of the Exiled Daemonettes here as well. 69 kills, just full-on Slaanesh here, with 1,492 gold value and 1,900 gold value on the other unit. Pretty impressive work. 940, 1.3k, 1.1k, and 0 value from the cavalry. This unit got obliterated from long range. And it looks like the Maurers, nothing too crazy, held the line and did a decent job. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.